And I would say it was better than having an unexpected pregnancy, having a planned pregnancy. And I say that because I went in knowing what was going to happen, instead of being surprised or misled.
Hmm.
So that has helped, in the growth. And I think that's what motivated me more. Like, I did this. So it's like, let's get it. It wasn't like, oh, you know, backstory, oh, father left. No, I planned it.
Welcome, everybody, back to another exciting show of the About That Water podcast. Today, I have a wonderful guest by Jasmine Brown. How you doing today, Jasmine?
I'm pretty good at you.
I'm doing fantastic. So here on the About That Water podcast show, those of you who are new to the show, we are here to help you build strong financial behaviors in and around everything that deals with money. So with this being said, Jasmine, if you can just kind of give a quick intro to who you are and a little bit about your money history.
Okay. Well, first, thank you for having me on the show. I'm Jasmine. So I am let's say, college graduate, um, new to the whole financial aspect when it comes to like learning and things. So I've been watching your show, which has helped immensely. Like, I can't describe how much I've learned. I wish I would have learned, in high school to prevent certain things from happening. But in all, I would say it was learned at the right time, so that way I can send it down my generational from here on out, so that my kids or kids won't make those mistakes that I've made. So let's see my financial history. Went to college, good old student loans, working on those, trying to figure out, the best way to, of course, pay them back, but save myself in the long run, to pay them off as quickly as possible. Had some little mishaps, nothing serious, no bankruptcies, thank the Lord. No 30-day late, thank the Lord again. But some close calls. I'm talking about that 29th day, and you're like, oh, if I pay it real quick, it ain't a 30-day. Definitely some of those growing up. Not since I've been a real adult. Budgeted for a kid, miscalculated that budget a little bit more than what you think.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dive into that. Like, what was your budget for the kid?
My original budget starting out was give or take 15K.
Okay.
And then it was just like, oh, you read all these books that tell you like they need this, they need that. So then I was like, oh, minimalist thinking. I did it. And it was like I got everything that I needed. And then it was like, but then the surprises come.
Mm.
And it's like you don't realize that they grow so fast that you're on to the next stage before you recoup doing what you've just done. So, but it's kind of cool. I don't regret it. And I would say it was better than having an unexpected pregnancy, having a planned pregnancy. And I say that because I went in knowing what was going to happen, instead of being surprised or misled.
Hmm.
So that has helped, in the growth. And I think that's what motivated me more. Like, I did this. So it's like, let's get it. It wasn't like, oh, you know, backstory, oh, father left. No, I planned it,
Right.
down to the wire financially with a spreadsheet. Like 3 years before, I was like, if I take care of this, I have this extra money for my baby. If I take care of this, I have this, just in case I wasn't married at the time that I chose to do it. And apparently the stars didn't align and I wasn't married when I chose to do it. And I
Right.
still went through with it. Um,
Now, when you say you went through it, like, what that look like?
so some people know, some people don't. I went, originally I was going to do it with someone I had been in a relationship with for a long time, but things happen in relationships, and one monkey don't stop the show.
Right.
So I was hitting 30, 31, and I was like, I want to be a mom. So I researched. I had a wonderful friend. I kind of went with her through her process, and then it was like, oh wow, it's a lot. And then it was like, but it's so fun. They're so sweet. They're so kind. And it's like being a mom is so refreshing. But I also had to be okay with the what if it didn't happen. So I had allotted only 3 chances of doing it. And if it didn't happen by that third time, I was going to be like, well, Clearly, God didn't want it to happen, or it just wasn't meant. So I kind of researched. I reached out to about 3 or 4 um, fertility clinics, did some interviews, and I used their consultations to kind of like interview them without them knowing.
Hmm.
So 2 of them, I was like, I'm good. And the third one, it just felt like home. Like he didn't start off with, like, oh, so you want to be a mom? Are you sure you want to do this by yourself? It was more like, so, what do you think? Like, what are you feeling? Like, what do you think is the reason why you haven't gotten pregnant and things like that? And so I explained the situation. He's like, so let's approach it this way.
Mm.
And his background, how he was, apparently he had a whole lot of experience in doing it with multiple moms. So it was kind of like new to me, but he was like good at it. So he, told me what clinics to try out. We looked at some profiles for different sperm candidates. We did my genetic testing based upon other candidates, and it literally came down to the wire. I went from 500 choices. Once I got my genetic profile, it went to like 146. Then after the other genetic test came back, I was down to 21. And
Wow.
then out of the 21, it was like, let's look at these. Sorry.
That's okay.
Let's look at these their profiles and see what brought me. At first I was like, oh, none of these are like a good candidate. And just when I was like, I'm gonna wait. And he's like, wait, he was like, did you see the alert? And they was like, they had just got a new candidate. I'm like, this is about to be some BS. So remind you, this is fresh,
Yeah.
fresh, fresh off the wire. Tested, brought up his profile, and I was like, Dad, he got a genetic issue. And the doc looked, he said, well, that's not really a genetic issue. They just have to tell you about that one. He was like, because I didn't align with that genetic issue, it wouldn't have caused any problems with my child. So I was like, oh, okay. We ended up kind of being alike, both Geminis, both church going, had the same hobbies, cars, photography, music. Like it was crazy. So I chose him. And of course I was his first donor family, I guess. And it worked the first time, thank goodness. Budgeted for about 2,000, ended up only spending 1,500, got insurance reimbursed
Good.
almost 1,200. So I only give or take came out of pocket with 300, but then there was a small clause with the fertility clinic, and what they did was they gave me a discount. And so I literally only came out of pocket about $7.
Wow.
It was only about $7 difference. It was so funny when it was time to pay. I slid my insurance card, and then they applied theirs, and she was like $7. I was 7. Like, wait a minute. They told me, and I was so happy though. So then I was like, okay, well, if it don't work, then I got this for the next time. But it worked.
Hmm.
So I, had cleared off almost $10,000 in credit card debt. I basically hit all my goals, and the way I did that was I ended up being a roommate, but it was a great roommate situation versus a bad, because it was like I didn't need to be a roommate, but it was like if I become a roommate, look how much money I save.
Hmm.
And it was simple, great living, easy person. They worked shifts, so I hardly ever seen them like that. And then when I was home, they were at work. When they was home, I was at work. So it kind of was honestly like single living in a way. Great location, still by the job, no issues with that. So it worked out. I honestly say, had I not been planning for a child, it still would have been great. And I probably wouldn't have been able to clear as much debt. Like total, I think I paid, I want to say it's anywhere from 18 to 23,000 in the matter of 11 months of debt.
Wow.
And
That is
since having
awesome.
her, yeah, I was shocked when I looked at my spreadsheet. I was like, oh, junk. And it was crazy, like how quick. I never knew the understanding of credit, because it was like, dang, I've been sitting at 660 for a minute. It was like 665, 689. It would fluctuate between those two. And I'm like, literally, as soon as I started paying down the credit cards, it was like, what? 695? Wait a minute. Wait, what? And I'm like, oh, it finally clicked. It wasn't that I had bad credit. It was the fact that on a card that I had 3,500, even though I paid monthly more than the minimum, I just wasn't getting rid of or carrying over solely 30%. I was carrying over like 80, 90 on some of them.
Wow.
So getting those down, my credit shot up. Actually, my credit was best then. I had never seen no 780. I was shocked. I was like, I didn't even know I could get up there. My goal was 700. And I obtained that the first 2 months and just literally
Wow.
paying my cards down and just reading. Of course, I looked at your podcast. I read a few books on the Kindle. Like they would just pop up like, hey, here's a financial book. It was like Dads to Riches or something like that, Rags to Riches or something. I forgot the author. He was really good in helping me. And then I just started looking at multiple avenues of once I have a child, what am I going to do to keep up with this lifestyle that I've created for myself? Because I was working 2 jobs. Thank goodness I'm no longer working 2 jobs. I'm down to one.
Congrats. Woo.
Thank you. Woo. Finally, Lord. Um, but and that's one of the things of having multiple streams of income. So I'm looking at different ways. I still am on the fence about my cleaning business, but I've been getting so many hits in North Carolina. Like, when you're ready to start your cleaning business, please put me on your list. Please put me on your list. Like people who I had no idea Google had published my ad before I was ready, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh
wow.
no, my business is not up yet. And people was like, oh, when it gets up, can I be on your clients list? Can you do once a month? Can you do every other week? I'm like wow, just off of my pictures that I posted, and
Mhm.
then I guess it was the fact that because I was willing to travel and had different rates and stuff, but I was like, no, Google, I wasn't ready. So that was interesting. But I'm still tabling another form of income outside of just working because I want to make money when I'm asleep. I've done a little stocks, nowhere near what people experience. I'm still a baby when it comes to that, but I would love to like literally wake up that morning and see, oh, okay, I'm up a couple of grand,
Right.
so literally close my eyes and paychecks are coming in, depositing, and I'm just throwing them in my savings, throwing them in her 529, throwing them to another stock or ETF, something. So I'm still learning. And of course, to me, I feel like I'll never stop because I have so much to learn. And it's like listening to podcasts are great on the way to work. It gives you not only motivation, but it also helps clear your thoughts. And it lets you know, like, if you're stuck and you think about the what else or what's next, podcasts can help in that next part. Now, they're not going to give you everything, of course, but being able to talk about it and being able to hear someone else's story, it kind of gives you the motivation, like, oh my God, I could do this. I can so do this. Or it's not as bad as I thought. Like when you hear people, being homeless, and it's like, whew, I'm so glad I have not gotten to that point. I have not, had to live like that quite yet. That's one of the things that I will always be grateful for.
Right. That's awesome. Because like I know with that you has mentioned so much. So you got like paid off well over what $18,000 in debt. You raised your credit score to like 780. And this is all in the span of what, a year, 18
uh,
months?
yeah, 18 months, give or take.
Wow. All right. Yeah, because I'm thinking about the people who has never been through um the whole process or even thinking about going to a sperm donor to actually have this happen. Because usually when people hear sperm donor, they just think, oh, it's their dad, but
Yes.
you actually gone to a place. So just to kind of go back a little bit in your story, just what is it? Like, what was your thought process going into the bank in the first place? Like, did you feel like you doing this alone, or you came in there all excited, like, yeah, I'm gonna do this?
So at first I was like, I remember I was talking to a young guy, and his question was like, he was trying to court me or date me, and he was like, "Oh, I could give you my sperm." I'm thinking to myself, I barely even like you. I don't think I want to procreate and possibly have to deal with something like you.
Hmm,
And
something like
then
you.
yeah, and then it was like I remember one guy was like, "Oh, you're desperate." I was like, "Baby, you see
Ooh,
this? I am an educated black queen that don't mind being submissive, but I also can come to the table with something. I'm not a bill. Like I'm not a bill. You don't
right.
got to front anything. Like if you could come to, I could probably pay your same mortgage with no issues.
Mm,
Like So it was like one of those things where like dating wise, I literally put on pause because it was like the comments that you get the it's so many male are like they're so fascinated with the oh yeah I want to interact with you yeah oh you need sperm I got you it used to be some cheesy and I'm like no I'm okay with that if I want to have sex I could go to I could do, whatever I wanted to do in order to get to that point. So at first, honestly, going in, I was hyped. I was really hyped because I was like, oh, I'm about to be a mom. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Like me and my daughter gonna be here. Me and my son gonna be here. I didn't know what I was gonna have. It was like I'm just ready.
Yeah.
But then I listened to like how friends were. Some of my friends were like, "Oh, you're gonna do it alone. That's crazy. Why would you put yourself in that predicament?" And I'm like, "It's not really a predicament when you plan it."
Mm.
I'm like, and I remember one friend was like, "Oh, but your child needs a father, this and the third. My child had a father. I did it with him." And I'm thinking to myself, he's not even paying your child support. You're doing it alone. When you think about it, you're always complaining about being a single mom. So the dad can always leave, even if
Right.
he's your husband.
Mm-hmm.
He can say bye-bye at any point, and you'll still have to be the one that's more supportive. So my thought was, I don't want someone to be there and set me up for being a single mom without it being planned. But I also don't want to be a single mom willingly without it being my choice.
Mm.
So when I went in, I was very motivated. I kind of like whatever. All right, say what you're gonna say. This is my life.
Right.
Like I don't need nothing from you. Me and my child will be good regardless. Like I had a game plan. So I was very motivated. Sometimes the comments were kind of like, "Oh, okay, I see what you did there. Remind me not to send you an invitation."
Right.
Oh, if you didn't get an invitation, now you know. Sorry. Um, but yeah. So it's like you kind of, for me, I was excited. I was ready. It was planned. I've always wanted to be a mom. Always been great with kids. My nieces and nephews love me for what I know. If they don't, they know what it is. They love me. My babies love me. But yeah, it was one of those things. Like I can't. I don't know. It's like a surreal feeling. Like it makes me so warm and bubbly
Right.
thinking about a little baby and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was motivated. I wasn't scared. It's not like I was forced or competing with someone else's life. It was kind of like I had this set in stone. I prayed about it. I literally went by a milestone, my own milestone. And I kind of like charted everything out, and it just so happened everything aligned. So I'm grateful for it.
Nice. Well, I mean, you're doing the thing. I mean, nobody could tell you different. And that's one of the things that I want people to listen to is the confidence that you have and going beyond the naysayers and actually doing it because you want to do it versus listening to everybody else.
Hmm.
Because, like you said, is some of those people say, "Well, why would you do that?" And you don't want the guy to be around. And majority of the time, they are not saying that everybody they are, but I guess you could say in the area um, most of the time, you hear that the father is not really there all the time, or he's there but not mentally there. He's just physically there. Like, yeah, see, I showed up, but that's
Hmm.
it. Like,
All right, nothing to bring to the table, can't help you on your part,
yeah,
or just not there financially, or there financially but not in the home. It's a
mhm,
lot of things that go with it. And I can say I don't know what's going to happen with how she may feel. I have a journal for her. I have videos for her. And honestly, at the time when I did it, I thought that I was like, oh, I'm not worried about a dad for her. She'll have a wonderful grandpa.
mhm,
So in my mind, I was like, oh, my dad was like the bomb dad. So he gonna be a banging grandpa for my child. And it was like, damn. Soon as like 6 months later, it was like 6 months into my pregnancy, he was like, dad is dying. Like, wait, now that was not in my plan. So it
gotcha.
was like everything that I was so happy about, it was like sad, but then still happy because it was
Mhm,
like I might be losing a life, but I'm bringing one in, hopefully.
mhm,
And it was like, Dad, I hope he get, to meet her. So it was kind of like one of those things. Um, because I knew I would not have a real father for her, but I felt like my dad could do it all. Like he
yeah,
was a wonderful grandpa. So I just knew he would be able to be that to my child.
Yeah.
It didn't happen like that, but I still know, like, I have so much love. Like, I remember asking my niece before, maybe like a month or two before it was time for the procedure. And I asked my niece, I said, so how does it feel not having a dad? And she
Mhm.
was about 17, 16, 17 maybe. And her response kind of like, it was crazy. It was like, that was the reassurance I needed. She was like, well, you guys showed me so much love. I honestly didn't realize one was missing.
Wow.
And I was
Wow.
like to hear her say that, she was like, you guys showed me so much love. She's like, I really didn't know it, like there was none. I was like, so hearing her say that and seeing how well she's doing now, and I was 14 when she was born, so it was like that was kind of like my first test of a baby. Like, she went to church with me, things like that. Like, it was amazing. Like, so it was like this time, this one doesn't leave when it's time to go. This one's here forever. That
Yeah.
was a little bit of the difference. But yeah, hearing her say that kind of reassured me that what I was doing was okay. And again, you're always going to hear me say I prayed about it. So you could say whatever you want to say, but clearly it was meant to happen because there's only a 20% chance of an IUI working. That's the procedure I had because I didn't have other fertility issues. I didn't have to do in vitro.
Mhm.
I did an IUI, and what they do is take the donor sperm. They monitor your menstrual cycle, and basically, when normally you only have like a 3-day window, you pull a trigger shot on that second day, and that third day of you ovulating, they put the semen in you.
Okay.
In doing so, you still only have a 20% chance. The great thing about it is I know who my child's father is based off his genetic profile. I know when I got pregnant.
Right.
I planned for my pregnancy.
Mhm.
I can afford it. And I have a educational background that even if I'm unemployed, I won't be unemployed no more than about a week or two.
Right.
It would have to be hell on high water. And I've been working since I was 14, so I have the resources to where my grind is impeccable. I have a good support system, so I wasn't worried about the what if, because I kind of built this thing up. I knew at this point in my life I want this. At this point in my life I want this. At this point in my life, if I'm not making six figures, I'm not doing it.
Wow.
And
Okay.
literally, I literally did that. I made sure I checked everything off because I didn't want. I wanted to be able to give my child everything that I didn't have plus more.
Mhm.
And so you don't always need money. You need money to survive, but you also need to know what love is.
Yeah.
And it's like that love that you provide, it oversells everything else. It doesn't matter. Like, I could buy my child the most expensive gift. She would play with the box. And I'm like, I just bought you this. This is a $300 computer. No, she don't care about that.
Right.
The box, a simple box. And you saying, good job. Look at what you did.
Right.
And the baby's just like, I did that. That was me. And you're looking over at the toy you spent a lot of money on. It's like, I get it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just my story. Everyone's different. Everyone has their way. I don't know if she'll be upset about having a dad. Hopefully, her journal and all the videos. I have so many videos for her of me
Yeah.
talking while being pregnant, before doing it, the actual procedure, why I chose the donor. She could hear his profile, why he wanted to be a donor, all those things. So I'm hoping she won't be upset, and I'm hoping eventually to find love. Um, there's a possible candidate. We're filling each
Ooh.
other out.
All
Going on
right. All
2
right.
years now, talking. But it's one of those things where if it happens, it happens. If it don't, I'm okay because I know my worth, and I'm definitely not settling. I'm not.
Right.
So we'll see.
All right. So, what is it that you want to leave Family when she actually listens to this episode?
Ooh, what do I want to leave? Hopefully when she listens to this episode, she'll be old enough to where like she's seen her mom's work and possibly a father or family. And she's chilling, maybe in college, maybe has her own business. Or even if she's in grade school and just happened to stumble upon it. Uh, I want to leave. I don't know. I love her so much. Probably, she's probably so amazing. She's already amazing now, so I'm sure she's gonna be 1,000 times more amazing. And I hope she is proud of me as well. And hopefully, I leave her later on in life generational wealth and properties, and to where she won't have to work unless she wants to. And just the skills. I hope I am able to implement and instill in her the skills that she needs in order to never have to struggle.
So you talked about leaving a legacy and so forth. So do you want to talk about a way to um, leave that legacy? Like, how does that conversation is going to look like? I'm just curious from your point of view of what it would look like. So right here, I'm actually pulling it up now from NPR,
Okay.
and they actually titled it "Want to teach your kids about money? Start by including them in the conversation." And one of those things is that keeping them in the conversation, I thought was interesting because so many people that I have on the show before actually said the same thing: is to start them and start them early. And obviously, they go with here and say, "Do you remember your first, how you first started learning about money?" And as at least know when I was growing up, I mean, the first thing I learned about money was that it's paper, so hide it. Learn how to hide your money. Do you remember your first story about? Um,
My first story about money, I would have to say, wow. Well, I started working at 14, so clearly, I wanted my money. I was trying to be about that wallet
hey,
at the
there you
age of
go.
14. See what I did there?
Yeah,
But yeah, so I kind of learned about money different. It was kind of like one of those things where, like, I didn't know we were poor. Um, I didn't know we were poor. So, and I'm not gonna say poor. We were less fortunate because you still had shoes and stuff, and I had a couple of name brand shoes, not nowhere near what some people may have. Um, so it was kind of like doing like little chores around the house. My sister would be like, "Here's $1 if you pick up this in my room," or something like that. Things like that, or um, like when you go to the store. My mom never had to say don't touch nothing if you ain't paying for it because I wasn't gonna touch it anyway.
right.
So it was weird. It was kind of like one of those things was like I knew I wanted something, and to hear like, oh, we can't get it this time, but maybe next time. Things like that. It's like, well, what we got to do to get it? Because I want to get it. And I remember when I would be with my aunt. And to me, I thought she was like a millionaire. I'm not gonna lie. She
Really?
had a car. It was like so cool. Like my dad had a car, but my mom didn't.
Hmm.
Not knowing that my mom just couldn't drive.
Right.
So that was why she didn't have a car. She can't drive.
Right.
But when my aunt would pick us up, I used to be like, yo, I'm never getting out this car. I used to run from side to side, like
Mm.
thinking she was like a millionaire. She had like it was a Mazda 626,
I remember those. Yep.
little square one, right?
Hmm.
She come pick me up, get me and walking. Like to me, that was my idea of like wealth, like a car and a house, and I won't think about little stuff. I don't want no toys, no. The car, the house.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for. So it was like I want money in my pocket, not realizing no, you need money in the bank.
Yeah.
So when I first started working at 14, that was one thing I wish I would have learned was put money up. It was kind of like I had the cell phone. I kept my nails done. I did my own hair, so that was, but I bought a lot of weaves and stuff, and you know, um, paying $60 and $70 every 2 weeks to get my nails done,
Hmm.
like a fool. Um,
Your
had a
nails have to
cell
look good,
phone.
right?
That's not right. Just look good for a little while.
Right.
Like nothing saved, but I had a cell phone. I was doing better than most 14-year-olds to me in my mind. But I should have been saving. I should have. Um, when you're 14, you really don't think about that. So it's
Not at
like
all.
if I would have known what I know now, I would have saved. I would have been prepped for towards college or something like that, you know. But again, my family didn't really know.
Mhm.
And then by the time some of them may have known, I was well off in college by then.
Mm.
So I was making my own mistakes then. Um, so I don't know. It depends on when you learn about money. I didn't learn about it until probably 16, 17. My second
Okay.
job, and when I was getting ready to go off to college, it was like, oh, I have a little money, but not a lot. Not what I thought I would have. You know, I was able to buy my necessities and things like that, but it was nowhere near. Like that first week of college, I was like, man, I was like, I just blew through $100 in a week.
Mm.
Like, I can't keep this up.
Right.
I'm about to start back working while I'm in college. That was not the purpose, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I wish I would have learned like in middle school, high school.
Yeah, we all did. Because I mean, I remember those days, and you work, but then you like you get the money, you want to do the things that you always said that your parents couldn't say that you do, that you can't have. And I think that's what holds a lot of us back when we were younger. It's like you can't have this, you can't have that. Versus, it's not a can't. It's just that right now, find another way to get it for
Right.
yourself. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think
Totally.
once we change the language, as we get older, and for you with your child, and for me, I'm not having any, but that's why I try to make sure that I understand when I start talking to other people or other parents. It's about changing the language about the finances when you go through life, or even going inside the store. It's like, hey, I want that toy. Well, find another way to get the toy. You know, find your own little business, or um, ask somebody else for it because I ain't got it. So it's like one of those. Ask for it for Christmas. You can eventually get it, but by that time, you don't even want it by then. But I want to go back to this article from NPR because one of the things that they do kind of dive into a little bit more, which is when parents lack the confidence or control of their own financial situation, they can less they could be less willingly to talk about money to their children. But if you wait until your finances are perfect before you telling your kids about money, then you're doing a disservice to your kid. And I thought that would be something interesting to kind of dive into just a little bit on your thoughts on that.
I would have to disagree.
Mm.
I would say because if you wait until your finances are in order and you tell them you're doing a disservice, but if you don't tell them why you're struggling, then they're going to make the same mistakes that you made without knowing. Yeah, you might raise a spoiled child or something like that, but um, it's that yeah, I don't know. I would still want to talk to my child about money. Like, okay, this is why mommy didn't get this because I didn't budget for this, or I need to work this amount of hours to afford this because now we got this, that, that. Things like that. Saying that we don't have, or choose something different, or my one of those things when families say, Santa, tell Santa that you want it, something like
Right.
that. It also depends on their age too. I'm not gonna be telling my 1-year-old, so look, mommy got student loans, so I can't afford. You don't know that you're just not picking it up off the. You're not picking it up off the shelf. She want it. So I would have to disagree with it. I don't feel like it's doing a disservice by telling them once you made it. I feel like you telling them wow you're struggling, and then them seeing you get out of it
Mm.
is what ultimately be a good example to me. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, because for me, I agree with you. Just telling them why you're going through the mess is a more it's more meaningful and more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're, well, I guess that's what the article was saying. It's a disservice to let them know after the fact, after you already got your money and stuff like that in order.
Oh, so okay. I thought
Yeah.
they were saying like once you've gotten it to let them know. So maybe
No,
I'm
you're
I'm
going
just read
in.
it wrong.
You're going in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
my apologies.
No,
Also, read properly. Sorry.
that's all right. Because I'm reading it aloud for the people that are only listening it on the podcast side of the house because I want to make sure that they don't miss out on any of the visuals.
Mhm.
Now, so we're going to move on this segment a little further on to the third segment, which is the features. Like, what do you feel that you're excited about in the future? Let's say about the
Ooh.
next 5 months to 2 years.
Let's see. For COVID to be over.
Okay.
No, honestly. So for the future, you said 5 months or 5 years?
5 months to 2 years, because 5 years
Five
is
months to
pretty
two
long.
years. Okay. I would say I want to be buying my home within the next 8 months.
Okay.
That's really something I really want to check off my list. I have not done that. I've been close, but I had to talk to a good friend of mine because she was like, "What's stopping you?" And I'm like, "Well, I ain't found nothing I like." I was like, and I don't want to be in something that's not my dream home. I can't right now. I can't afford my dream home. Apparently, I got some expensive taste that I didn't realize I had until it came to the home building process.
Mhm.
Um, they gotta stop showing us that catalog where they be like, "Oh, pick and stuff." Yeah, I can't afford my dream home right now. So I have to be okay in my spirit
Mhm.
um to 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 get like a renovated home, a home that needs some TLC. Um, I think that'll be my first step in the home buying process. Because I kind of shun away. It's like, oh no, no, no. Now I'm gonna be responsible for fixing this kitchen,
Mhm.
or oh my God, did you see that carpet? Or I don't have a garage. I don't have this. Instead of looking and being thankful for what I do have, oh, this is in my name. I'm building this up. I could later get rent income from here. I could leave this to my child while I'm in my other house way across yonder. So I have to get okay with my spirit in doing that. But the goal is to be a homeowner. Um, and possibly next up in my career, I really want to get up there into like senior level eventually, but I want to be on that next step with my career. And then financially, I would love. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you want to have this amount saved. I just want to be to where I'm still gonna budget, but to where it's like I don't have to say, well, on this check I'll use this check I'll use that. I
Mhm.
want it to be it's already in there, but I know it's gonna take this amount of hours to recover, but I don't have to worry because I know that check's gonna come in. I want to be like that, not worried about finances, but also not negligent upon you can't keep spending if it's not coming in.
Yeah.
So I want it coming in different avenues within the next 5 to 2 years, 5 months to 2 years.
That's awesome. Well, I have plenty of real estate folks that have been on the show, so they are more than willing to help you out. We can talk
Yeah,
about
I
that
have.
after.
I've been looking at some of those episodes. I think one of the young ladies, I forgot her name though, but I seen hers, and it was a guy too. I think he was doing like multiple units or something. And he was saying something like you buy the unit and the person pays for you to stay there or something,
Yep.
or like the other side or something like that. I remember that one. Um, so and that's possible too. I would be interested in something like that, like getting a little duplex and I have this side and act like I don't know who the owner is.
You're right, right.
You pay your rent. I pay mine.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you for paying for me to stay beside you. Thank you.
And then outsource everything else. Like, yeah, some guy that comes
Right.
to cut the grass and
Uh-huh.
take care of the water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, I'm sure at the rate that you're going, you'll definitely reach it there. So, you ready for the final four questions?
Sure.
Alrighty. What does wealth mean to you?
No, I haven't hit that spot yet. Some people think that wealth always means happiness, but clearly it's a lot of rich people that do dumb crap. So
Right.
I'm not gonna say that it's happiness. And it's a lot of rich people who are sad and depressed. Um, so having that understanding that wealth shouldn't be tied to feelings or shouldn't be tied to your worth. Um, wealth wealth is like a motivator. So to me, I would say wealth would be a motivation or like a goal or something to have.
Okay. And I like it. So you look at it as more of a something to obtain.
Right.
But what would it be though? Like what would be your definition of wealth?
Wealth would be, I don't know. Because I mean, it would mean no worries.
All
Wealth would
right.
be no student loans. It'd be debt free. That would be my wealth. No student loans, homeowner, but debt free.
Okay.
Completely
And
debt
no
free.
worries, no financial worries at
Credit
all.
cards too.
Right.
Only cash. I want to
Okay.
cash. Not the strip club though. No, no, no. Cash.
I mean, you can just have it at home. Let me stop. All right. Well, number two. Number two. What was your worst money mistake?
If anybody know me, y'all, which one? Because when you say worse, I done had, I done told you about buying a car every 3 years like a dummy, just
Mm,
because you go in for a service and they like you want to upgrade and you're like, oh yeah, brand new spanking car. So buying cars,
mm.
um,
You only had to pick one, but if you want to tell me all of them, it's cool.
because it's a tie. It's a tie.
Right.
I have to
Okay.
slip
Well,
up,
what's the tie? What's the tie?
So
What's the tie?
buying cars and lending out money that I didn't have to lend out, only not to get it back.
Mm.
Those are the two.
Yeah, that sounds like a whole nother story for another time.
That's another
Yeah.
time. Listen, when we go to that, if you ever invite me back,
Yeah.
baby, that's a good one.
Nice.
That's the one where we ain't gonna get on that.
All right.
Those
Well,
are my two mistakes: the cars and the lend out money that I didn't have to lend out to not to get it back either.
okay. And number three, what is a book that you're reading or looking forward to read?
I still have my Michelle Obama book. I have not finished it. I keep listening to it. I think I might need to sit down and actually read it. I think that's what my problem is. Because listening to it for some reason, I don't know.
It
I be
doesn't work?
wanting to turn up music to make it through, the little 9 minute traffic that I may have. So that's one of my books for myself. I need that development. Financial books, I had a whole list actually. I don't know where my phone is at. I recently it was this I think you told me about him. What is his name? He was the guy with the snowball method. Ramsey, is it Ramsey?
Yeah, Dave Ramsey. Yeah.
He had a list of books. And I said I was going to do one every 2 to 3 months. So I chose four off of his list, and then I forgot what the other one was. It had a cool title. Um,
If you want to, I mean, I could pause it and you can go get it.
can you pause it?
Yeah.
All right, so I have top three choices. Um, Damon John. This one, it was just the title for this one. The Power of Broke.
Hmm.
I really want to get into that one. Tiffany Alici, I think that's
Yep.
how you say it.
Yep.
Get Good with Money.
I have that one. Yeah.
You have it? Is it good? Okay.
I haven't read it, but I do have it. That's
Oh,
right.
you have it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's on my Amazon list. And then the other one is The Broke Millennial Takes on Investing. I think it's like Aaron Lowry. I put Aaron L, but I feel like the last name was Lowry. I might be a little off on the last name. Don't judge me. But that was on my Audible list. That's another Audible book. So those are the three.
Okay. I'll make sure people that are listening have it in the show notes. So for your favorite books, more than likely, maybe somebody might want to reach out and lend it to you for Christmas or for birthdays.
Hey, I'll take it. Let me
Right.
make my list public.
Right. Awesome. The very last question. What is your favorite dish to make?
Food wise, my favorite dish. Mac and cheese.
Ooh. Now, out the box?
No, what is wrong with you? Now, you done had my mac and cheese. You better stop playing.
Yeah.
That was homemade mac and cheese. There wasn't no out the box.
Okay.
Only thing was box was the elbow noodles. That's it.
Okay. So what makes yours different than anybody else's mac and cheese?
It's made with love and special ingredients, and it's mine.
Okay. All right. It's yours. It's your mac and cheese. All right, Jasmine. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Um, is there any last thing or last words that you want to leave the audience that are listening before we hang up?
um, no last words. I'm not really a last person. I'm someone that's going to stick around for a while.
Gotcha.
If I leave something, it would have to be don't be afraid to grow, whether that's spiritually, financially, emotionally. Um, just don't be afraid to grow. Don't settle. Um, don't be okay with it is just what it is. Um, that's what I would leave. Grow. It's okay to grow.
Right. Well, there you go, folks. You heard it from Jasmine herself. Again, this is the About That Water podcast, and we are definitely helping you build stronger financial behaviors. All right, everybody, I'm out.